like Elliot Ness. The track hits your eardrum like a slug to your chest. Like a vest for your Jimmy in the city of sex. We in that sunshine state where the bomb ass him be. The state where you never find a dance floor empty and pimp speed. On a mission for them greens. Lean, mean, money making machines, serving fiends. I've been in the game for 10 years making rap tunes. Ever since Honeys was wearing Sassoon, now it's 95 and they clock me and watch me diamond shining, looking like a Rob Liberace. It's all good from Diego to the Bay. Your city is the bomb if your city making pay. Throw up a finger if you feel the same way. Straight putting it down for California, yeah.
I'll tell you, I was watching Chalo. Chalo's over here throwing gang signs, throwing at Calexico y Calipas. Órale, Chalo.
Benny.
Yeah, ¿verdad, Mike? Hey, and then the way he puts the picture, especially when you're holding that rifle that shoots what do they call balls? Those balls or something?
Yeah, the rubber balls. Yeah,
the rubber balls. When that song comes out, hijo.
It's called the ouchie balls.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Hurt.
Hijo, Benny Entonces, talking about Benny se avienta, we got our first lady. That's his beautiful wife, Patsy Cruz. Good evening from sunny Murrieta, California. Welcome, Mike Alvarez. Órale, she's giving you the welcome, cabrón.
Yeah. Thank you, Patsy.
Little do you know that Benny's right there and she's in the back of la cocina. You know. Thank you, First Lady. We love you, man. Mil gracias.
Hey,
Man, this vato right here, Jim DeJanis, you know about him, right, Mike?
I'm not sure.
But this dude right here, they used to call him Batman. He was known as Batman at Pelican Bay. You probably met him.
I've heard the AKA Batman. back in the day.
He did, I believe, 17 years, or I always blow it, 16, 17 years in Pelican Bay. Wow. He worked the security squad, I believe, 3/4 of those 17, 18 years. The Vato is a legend. You got Emeros always talking about him. I remember Jim DeJanis. I remember Batman. And he's watching us right now. He retired, and right now he's living in Thailand. So he's watching us 12 hours later in Thailand. The Vato is a legend. And thank you, brother, for watching us. Right. And we got our sister, man. Ceci Escano's been watching, has been by our side from the very beginning, from Riverside, California. We got another brother that's been with us from the very beginning, Big VJ Juarez, always saying he's working. He's in Long Beach. I believe you're working right now, brother. You're taking your break, watching the show. Mil gracias. We're very grateful you've been with us from the very beginning. And this vato right here, Mike, Chris Kilby, this vato is a legend. Just like Batman is a legend in Pelican Bay, this vato's right here is a legend with the San Diego Police Department. He worked robbery. He worked gangs. They gave him those cases that nobody else could solve, that they were going to basically throw away. And he's the one that picked up those cases, made 30, 40 arrests on one case, a robbery case, Lincoln Park. This vato's a legend, and he's been with us from the very beginning. We love you, brother.
Nice.
You got another brother that's been with us from the beginning, Mike Martinez. Just FYI, Mike, I finally got the shirts and I got the coin. I sent it off yesterday morning, so it's coming. It's coming, my brother. Thank you once again. We got BP 760 from your part of town, from Brawley, standing by. Thank you, brother. BP 760.
Hey, David. I actually went to go see him today, and I gave him a challenge, one of our challenge coins, bro. So he's our first one. He's one of the first ones in Imperial Valley to get a coin, bro.
Right on, man. Well, at the end, we're going to be talking about how people could buy them. We got saludos from Timberland, from San Bernardino. You got one of your homeboys right here, Mike. Good evening, Big Mike. Checking in.
Yeah.
Retired KVSP. What does that stand for? KV. What does that stand for?
That's my dog.
That's your dog. Orale. All right. He's watching, man. Reverend Rents, our future chaplain. We already have one chaplain. Is going to be on next week. We'll talk about him. He's going to, this chaplain right here, future chaplain, is going to be with us on August the 12th. It's on a Wednesday. It's going to be a great episode. We got saludos desde Panama. Orale, Hector. We got somebody watching us straight from Panama. We got Cholo Trucker, my co-host on my boxing show, Los Tres Chingones. Thank you, brother, for watching in. We got Cocaine Cowboy watching us all the way from the Philippines. That's another legend right there who wrote a great book, and we'll talk a little bit about it later on. We got Marine veteran Jorge. Orale, gracias, Jorge. Hello, gentlemen. And we got Rafael Ortega, our brother in Christ, all the way from Houston, Texas. And guys, I'm going to stop here because we could keep going. We got a lot of people watching tonight. But guys, with that said, we're gonna do something special before we get started. We can't wait to start the show. But yesterday was 9 years that one of our fellow brothers from the San Diego Police Department, from the Gang Suppression Unit, he, Jonathan de Guzman, JD, also known as JD, was murdered in Shelltown, the city in the barrio of Shelltown, 9 years ago. And yesterday was his anniversary. And I'm telling you, this young man, he would have been the chief of police. But you know what? God decided to take him at a young age. One of the only GST officer that has ever been murdered in the line of duty with the San Diego Police Department. We've lost many throughout the years, but this is the first, and we believe, hopefully, God willing, the only GST, our gang suppression team officer. The guy's outstanding. As a matter of fact, his partner is going to be teaching at an upcoming conference in Palm Springs on the case, on the investigation of what occurred. This is, I believe, the second time that he does this presentation, and that this presentation is going to be in Palm Springs. But guys, with that said, we're going to do a quick moment of silence in honor of Officer Jonathan de Guzman, JD, ID number 5721. Rest in paradise, brother. We will see you soon. Godspeed. And blessings and prayers to you and your family. With that said, Benny, let's get going. I'm looking forward. It's going to be a great, great episode. It's all yours, Benny.
Well, tonight's retired CDCR ISU Sergeant Mike Alvarez returns for what is going to be an awesome and eye-opening account of the infamous gladiator fights in Corcoran Prison. Corcoran State Prison in California gained notoriety in the 1990s due to a scandal involving prison guards alleging that they were orchestrating gladiator-style fights between rival gang members for entertainment. From 1989 to 1994, 7 prisoners were shot and killed by guards in the prison's workout yard during this incidents. Today, we're going to get a breakdown of what happened. As we know, there's always a flip side to the story. Mike, thank you so much for returning. It's an honor to have you back, brother. And by the way, I hear that lady, the redheaded lady that's on the pictures, I heard she's pretty badass. I heard she's pretty badass.
She was a solid cop. She was a solid sergeant. She was my lieutenant in ISU, and yeah, she was.
Okay. So, Mike, the first question is kind of a loaded question. So just listen to it, and hopefully you'll be able to follow my flow here. We left off when we were getting ready to talk about the shoe. Now tonight we're going to talk about the gladiator fights. However, for our conversation, the conversation you and I had, the shoe was involved in the fights. So let's begin by explaining to our audience. We have a lot of people that are not prison savvy. So what is the SHU? What type of inmates are housed in the SHU unit? And what kind of recreational programs are offered? And how were the inmates released from their cells to go into that yard for recreation?
Okay, well, the SHU unit was a security housing unit dedicated to housing California's most dangerous inmates. We housed all validated prison gangs to include the Nuestra Familia, the Mexican Mafia, the Aryan Brotherhood, Nazi lowriders. Who else did we have? Oh, we had a few Texas syndicates, and we also had the BGF, the Black Guerrilla Family. The SHU at the time also housed inmates who pretty much committed different types of offenses to include assaults, murders, sexual assaults, the introduction of contraband and narcotics. And we also housed high-profile inmates back in the day there as well. The SHU unit was different from any other unit. These at the time, these inmates were not offered a whole lot per CDC policy. All they were offered were between 8 and 10 hours a week on the concrete yard. They were given a handball, and they could either play handball or they can go out there and work out with their peers, which was basically gang mandated calisthenics for the entire time they were out there on the SHU yard. Inmates, the way we release these inmates from their cells, what we would do first thing in the morning after we'd feed, we clean up. It was time for yard. We'd over the PA system, we'd announce if you want to go out to yard, hit your light. So the inmates that were going to go out to yard would hit their lights. And just so you know, the inmates that we housed there, if they were gang affiliated, they had no choice but to go to yard. These inmates were mandated to go to yard. It was no, I'm going to sleep in today. No, I don't feel good. I don't feel like going out to yard. You were going to go to yard, and that's prison politics, not CDC policy, prison politics. So once these inmates, once they were ready to go to yard, we'd go up to the cell. We'd open the food port. We'd place them in mechanical restraints, and we would escort them down to the yard rotunda, which was basically like about a 6x6 concrete room. And what we would do there is we would conduct a full unclothed body search, looking for any type of contraband, weapons, drugs of that sort. And once they were cleared, then we'd go ahead and release them out to the SHU yard. But as I said, these guys that were going out to SHU, these type of inmates that we housed there, they had no choice. They had no choice unless they were not gang affiliated. They had no choice but to go out to the yard. It was mandatory.
Dang, that's pretty good. So,
Go
hey,
ahead, Chalo.
so you said prison politics. So that means that the medals, BGF guys, this type of guy, you go out to the yard.
Oh yeah, yeah. You have no choice.
Yeah.
There were, like I said, there was no sleeping in. There was no, I don't feel like going. You're going, and so if you didn't go, then you're going to feel the reprisals later on down the line.
And just correct. I mean, maybe I look at it as this, but the reason they did it is to, number one, keep their structure, keep their command. Plus, they needed to go do their physical training too, right? Their workouts.
Yes, yeah, that was mandatory.
Yeah,
and if they were going to get off on another faction, they need to have their numbers.
Yeah. That's what people don't understand. I say, hey, you know what? You have no choice. When you're there, it's like, órale, all the Mexicanos, sureños. This is our yard right now. We're gonna go work out. And
yeah, there's, you know what? There's two things. There's CDC policy and procedure, and there's inmate politics. So go figure.
I'll be more afraid of the inmate politics than the CDC procedure.
Yeah, seriously. Oh yeah.
Hey, Mike, can you also explain what a yard is? I mean, when people think about a yard, they think like they see a prison movie, you know, grass in the middle and people walking around a big yarda. When we're talking about the shoe yards, can you explain what they are? And I know every prison is different. Some have cages, like when we were in San Quentin Death Row, they were cages, but yours are more like a handball court. Well, I don't know what they are at Corcoran or at Kern, but can you explain to our audience when you talk about a shoe yard, what it looks like?
They're basically two. We called it the concrete jungle, because basically what it was 2 yards joined together, surrounded by razor wire. And I would say my dimensions might be a little off, but I would say they might have been 20 by 40 feet in dimensions. And again, there were 2 yards side by side. Again, all concrete, no grass. All these guys got to see was the sky, basically.
And then when they went out, were they segregated? They segregate themselves. And did you always release, let's say, for example, okay, that we're releasing this side. Was it always at the same time releasing NF, Nuestra Familia, and Emeros, Sureños, Norteños? Would they release them at the same time, or they release them separately?
No, we'd release them as we'd go down the tier. It did, you know what? If these guys were housed with their rival, we release them at together.
They went out the rival.
Yeah, nothing was going to kick off until everybody got there. Every once in a while, it would, but nothing was going to kick off until everybody was out.
Wow.
And then because you worked ISU investigations, did you ever have informants give you information, telling you, hey, it's going to kick off today because of so-and-so, so you guys that day would not allow the inmates to go out because it was going to kick off, there was going to be weapons? Did that happen? Did you prevent a lot of murders from occurring?
We were not allowed to stop these guys from going out to yard at all. If these inmates had their lights on and prepared to go to yard, we had to let them go, or else we would face disciplinary action. So we had no choice. We had no choice.
Did that policy change?
What's that?
Did that policy change, or did it stay the same?
That policy didn't change, but the policy, and we can get into this later, that the segregation of different factions did change.
Okay.
But Benny, to answer your question as well, when we would tell these guys prepare for yard, if you would see these guys shadow boxing, if you would see them doing calisthenics prior to yard, it was our belief that something was going to happen.
They're warming up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But again, we had no choice but to let them out. The departmental policy, institutional policy was, if they have their lights on, you cannot deny them yard. So we had no choice but to let them out.
We have a question from Ceci Escano. Right now, Chalo is going to get into the next question. Are they able to get visitors if they are in the SHU program?
Yes, back then they had visits. They were all visits behind glass, but yes, they were able to have visits.
Hey, so let's move on. Hey, Mike, so check it out. So the topic of tonight's is people are very interested in these the gladiator fights, specifically the ones that occurred in Corcoran between 1989 and 1984, 5-year period. Were you, first of all, the question is, were you assigned to Corcoran then? And if you were, what was your job title? And tell us what a gladiator fights. What were the gladiator fights? What are they?
Yeah, I was assigned to 4A. The building was 4A to right as a floor officer. And as a floor officer, our duties were to prepare the inmates for their daily activities, feed inmates in the morning, clean up after chow, and conduct random cell searches throughout the day. The term gladiator fights, it was a term that was used accusing staff of staging fights, sometimes staging serious fights that also include serious bodily injury and death at times.
So, well,
you know, Mike, I was going to ask you, that building that you were at, was that a SHU? Was that part of the SHU program back then? That
we had yes, we had a 4A side and a 4B side. Each side had 4 buildings. Well, each side had eight buildings. You had two housing units to 1 building. So we had 4 buildings. So there were 8 housing units in each side, 4A and 4B.
So people that are watching the show and people that are not, who are listening to the show, we got thousands of listeners literally not watching it, but listening to it, according to Benny with our stats. Those that are not, can you explain once again, in that area that you're working, you have the worst of the worst. It's like a mini, or just like Pelican Bay, correct?
Yes.
During that period of time, you got Emeros, you got Norteños, you got Sureños, you got Salvadoreños, MS-13, you got the worst of the worst.
Mm-hmm.
So you're there now. They're part of the SHU, and you explained the SHU that they're a segregated housing unit. They come out. You strip search them. They back to the yard. You bring them back in. Strip search them back to their cell. Everything is controlled. During that time, is that when, right now, Chalo mentioned the gladiator wars? Is that in your buildings where they were initiated at the time?
Yes. These fights happened in every building. These incidents, these stabbings, slicings, fights, they happened in every building. It wasn't just one building. It was all the buildings.
We have a video that you sent Benny, but I couldn't download it for whatever reason. Right now I was trying to download it. I had a very hard time. It wouldn't take it. StreamYard wouldn't take it. But I wish I would have, because people would have been able to see exactly what the yards look like when these guys, basically, as soon as they broke line, you guys released them. They literally rushed each other like pet bulls, literally like 2 pet bulls, and just went at it. When you would release, let's say, for example, you would release the whole tier, and let's say there was 35 on that tier, you wouldn't wait for the 35 to hit the yard. You would release 2 at a time, correct? Or 3 at a time. Now, if those 3, that they wait for the 35 to show up, or as soon as you handcuffed them and opened the door, and on the other side they were open the door, did they immediately attack, or they waited to have more manpower there, so basically they won't be the only one shot with the rubber bullets?
It all depended on their orders, on their marching orders for the day. The majority of the time, they were going to wait till everybody got out there to keep the numbers up. Depending on who it was out there, who the inmate was, what his issues were. Every once in a while, yeah, as soon as we released a couple of them, you know what, they would attack if they had to. You know, if they were ordered to, they would. But like I said, it all depends on the situation, is what it did. But the majority of the time, they were going to wait till everybody was out there, make everybody feel comfortable, like it was all good. And as you can see in that video, Benny, you know, us, these guys shucking and jiving and talking, and then all of a sudden, all hell breaks loose. So it all depends on, you know, on any given day, anything could happen out there.
Hey, Mike, so everybody's waiting for that sign, right? That one sign that says, "Órale, it's a free-for-all now, man." You know, so boom, and the fight's on, bro. Everybody's fighting for their lives, actually. Just straight up fighting.
Yep, they waited for the first guy to make that move, and they knew who was going to be the target, and who was going to be their torpedo. And as soon as the torpedo made the first move, it was on.
And Mike, you mentioned that you strip search them coming out. You strip search them before they hit the yarda. These guys, they have pieces because I mean, there's no way they're going to hide it because it's all cement. Where are they going to hide it on the yarda? So that means they had it up their ass, right? They had it keistered.
They had it either keistered or they'd swallow. A lot of times they swallow the razor blade. They wrap it up in plastic and they swallow it, but they would have it. They would basically, some of them were able to regurgitate. Some of them would have it tied onto a small string, knotted up to the back of one of their back tooth. So they had it all the way down. Yeah.
A razor blade. So when they come up, they're not cutting their esophagus. They're not cutting their.
Well, no, they wrap them. They'll wrap them in plastic that they saved or whatever. However, whatever they would save, and then that's the way the way they would do it.
Well, 24 hours to think of how you're gonna hide all that shit. I'm pretty sure they became very, very good
all day, every day.
Yeah. What was the biggest fierro, biggest knife that you found on that yarda where they can't hide it? There's no place to dig. There's no place to hide. There's walls, but they keistered it. What was the biggest fierro you saw on that yarda used?
I would say it would have to have been a piece of metal stock, maybe I would say between 8-10 inches long.
Wow, that guy wasn't a virgin.
No.
It gave it, and you know what's even worse? The guy swallowed it, bro. He didn't keister it.
Oh my God!
Yes.
Wow, that's interesting. So, Mike, so now you're there. Is it an everyday occurrence that you're seeing this go off, or is it like once a week? I mean, according to what I'm reading, once again, the news they sensationalize. One thing about Trump that he was able to expose is the lies that the news basically give. According to what I've read, what I've heard, I wasn't there. Was it an everyday occurrence?
It was an everyday occurrence. I'll tell you what, we would have out of all those buildings that we had, sometimes we would have 2, 3, or 4 incidents going off at the same time. At the same time, you'd hear an alarm in one building, then the next building would go off, then the next building. And these guys knew who was going out. So if they hear an alarm, if they would hear an alarm in another building, they knew it was time for them to get off as well. Oh. So yes, we'd have sometimes 3 or 4 buildings going off at the same time. And shots were being fired. You could hear throughout the institution back then in those days. If you worked the level 3, level 4 main line or the level 1, you were hearing shots all the way across the facility all day, every day.
Hey, Mike. So, and that didn't get the other yards to like the level 3 yard, the level 4, or the mainline 4 or 1 to go off to at the same time. Since you guys at the shoe, you guys are so busy over there trying to get control.
The mainline yards were a little different. They knew what was happening, because you know what there's always that there's that one shot caller that calls the shots, and these guys filter out all their kites. And they know out there in the main line what's going on. But what people need to understand as well is, when they go off out there in the main line, they're going to go off, for a reason. But a lot of times, and it was funny because you can tell when the yards were peaceful, when everybody just stuck to their own and got along, that meant one thing. The drugs were flowing. They were making money. Money was coming in. Money was going out. So they didn't want to ruin anything out there on the main line, because if they're locked up, you kill game.
It's bad for business.
It's bad for business. Exactly. Yeah. So again, here we go. Inmate politics.
Yeah. And Mike, who was running when you were there? You're the building officer. Who was running the yardas? Was it all depended on every building? Like you had the ABs running one building, you had the M another one, NF and the other one, or was the M running all 4 buildings or 5 buildings? Well,
each building had their own. I mean, like I said, you had all those gang factions there. You had the Alvarez, you had the shot callers. So there was only one shot caller for the entire institution.
Really?
Yes.
Who was a shot caller when you were there?
Well, we had Artie Guzman there for the Mexican Mafia. Artie was a shot caller back then when I was there for the Mexican Mafia. Yeah.
He was running the whole yard.
He was
the whole prison.
Yes, the whole prison.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of power, Holmes. A lot.
We have a question from Reverend Rents. How many men did each building hold in the shoe? Good question.
Each building had, I want to say, 200 and 144. I want to say, and my numbers might be off. It's been a while. I want to say between 150 and 200 inmates.
No, let me ask you a question. You're there. It's not called the yard officer because you're inside the building. What is a building officer? What's it called?
Floor officer, building officer.
Floor officer. I remember I did that a couple of times there at Donovan, not at CMC because we had the buildings and the yards. But okay, so you're the floor officer. Boom, boom, boom. Everything goes off outside. You got your gunmen out there. They're firing off rounds. What was your job as a floor officer? Once you heard the guns going off, you heard the pellets going off, you heard whatever goes off during the little riot. Was your job as a floor? How many floor officers did every building have? And walk us through. Did you guys at that moment go in with a gurney to pick up the bodies, and everybody's down on the ground and they're being held by the officer on the tower there? Walk us through a scenario for those of us that have never worked a level 4 like yourself.
When an incident would jump off, there was, when we were all in the building and not out escorting and doing different things, there was probably between 5 and 6 of us in the building, floor officers and search and escorts. What we would do is respond to the window where we can see what's going on out there in the yard. If the gunner had control of the situation, everybody proned out, nobody was stabbed, nobody was sliced, nobody was dead, then what we would do is we'd have the gunner start bringing them out one by one because they were already proned out. So they'd get up, walk with their hands behind their head up to the sally port door and into that little strip rotunda where we'd strip them out. So we'd strip them out, cuff them up, and then take them back to their cells one by one.
What about the guys that are laying out in the yard stabbed? They'd be the last ones you guys would get?
They would be. If we had someone out there that was stabbed, what we would do is, again, we'd bring all the inmates who were not okay. involved. We bring them in and we go ahead and lock them up. The involved and the ones that were injured would stay out there. Well, I take that back. The ones that we'd ID, the ones that were involved, the suspects, take them back. The injured, we leave them out there. We'd call the acute care hospital. We had a state-of-the-art hospital, which was one of the first state-of-the-art hospitals in California at a prison. They would send the emergency response vehicle, which is the ERV. They would send them in. They'd come in. They'd get the victim. They'd take them away, and then we'd seal the crime scene. We'd call ISU, the Investigative Services Unit, and then they would come in and process the crime scene.
Wow, that is that. I mean, how many gunners do you have per yard?
There was one on each side, one for one yard and one for the other. So they worked side by side. They were probably 5 feet from each other, each watching one side of the yard. And
what weapons do they have? Do they still have the 30-06, the Mini 14?
At the time, we had the Mini 14, and then we had the 37 mil that would shoot out the blocks, and then we went to the one that shot out the rubber balls. After a while, well, I don't want to go ahead of myself, but yeah, that's what we had.
So okay, go ahead, David. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Chalo.
No, I was going to ask the next question, David, but that's
okay. Yeah, no. You know what? I think that our listeners are learning a lot. I'm learning a lot. Yeah. I think I'm more excited than our listeners because you know why? Because like I said, I never worked a level 4 like in a situation like that. Now, so you got the 2 gunners. Now, with the San Diego Police Department, I'm sure with the sheriffs the same with Calexico. Whenever we take out the beanbag, we have to yell beanbag before we shoot it. In your scenario, I mean, a dude is sticking somebody. As he's sticking them, your policy is there's no warning shots. The first weapon they're going to go to, the dude is sticking him. He's seeing the knife go in and out. He's going to get that Mini 14, and he's going to basically go for a headshot. I mean, there's no warning shots here. Boom, he fires a round. He doesn't have to yell so the other guy can hear Mini 14. He doesn't have to yell beanbag. He doesn't have. It's just automatic. Do they start off with the Mini 14 and then they de-escalate to the rubber gun and then the third gun?
If there were weapons involved, all they're going to hear is a get down from the yard gun, because the signs are posted. The department knew what they were doing. There's big signs. There's no warning shot, so inmates are fully aware of that.
Yeah.
The yard gunner is going to yell get down, and if he does not see a weapon, he's going to fire the 37.
Okay.
If he sees a weapon, he's going to use the Mini 14.
When you were there, was the Mini 14 used a lot?
Every day.
Really?
Yes. Okay, wow. I take that back. 90% of the time. I might be off a little bit on my percentage, but that Mini 14 was, because of the type of incidents that we were having back in the day, that's what we had to go to.
And it shot 223 or it shot the 30-06?
It was the 223 round.
So when that round hit, it literally hit the dude and it basically jumped around and probably hit others, correct?
Okay, well, I'm glad you brought that up because that's what I said. I didn't want to get ahead of myself. But yes, what was happening is we were shooting inmates with the Mini 14 and it was going through the suspect, and sometimes it would hit an uninvolved inmate. And so these rounds were going right through these inmates and hitting people either who were uninvolved or who were not using who were not using a weapon to assault another inmate. So the department, what they did was they changed up. We went to an H&K 9, and we were using the Glacier rounds. And what those Glacier rounds were doing is they were exploding on impact.
Wow!
So they were not going through the inmate. So what the department did change, we went from the Mini to the H&K during those times.
So it was a small H&K bullpup come up, boom.
Yeah,
30 round clip.
Yeah.
Wow, I never knew that. So they don't have the 30-06. They don't have the Mini 14 anymore. Now it's all H&K 9.
You know what? It's been a while since I've been there. I have no idea what they got anymore.
That H&K is a beautiful weapon.
Yeah.
An expensive weapon. That is. Yep. And Breakfast Burrito, we're going to get to your question at the very end. Good question. Chalo, go ahead, man. Dude, this is so interesting. So interesting. Okay, hey, go ahead, Chalo.
Mike, man, so tell us about the scandal that rocked CDC back then in those years. And when they were they called the so-called fights were when they were taking place, what really happened there? Why the scandal?
Okay, well, I'm going to start off with I'm going to go back a little bit into the shooting policy because again, at the time we had no shooting. There was a no warning shot policy, so we had no choice but to use force. We didn't have a chance. We didn't have we didn't have a choice, or else we would be reprimanded if we didn't do what was told to us by the Department of Corrections. I was a CCPOA chapter vice president back then, and I was representing officers for a lot of these shootings. And I tell you what, it was nonstop. I was representing my partners out there for shooting inmates, and it was all the time. It got to the point to where we came up with a little trick. Officers were getting tired of shooting inmates. These guys, we were shooting inmates, and we were shooting non-involved inmates. And it was starting to get to the staff out there. Nobody wants to shoot an inmate. Nobody wants to do that, and especially kill an inmate. That's not what we want to do. So what we did, we took it upon ourselves we came up with this idea, and it's kind of funny, but it worked. Each yard gunner where he stood, there was a huge, I would say 3x3 glass, heavy duty, shatterproof glass hatch. And that hatch was probably about 40 pounds. It was heavy. What we started doing, because we were tired of shooting inmates, when it would hit the fan, we would lift that hatch and just slam it. And that was so loud. It was so loud you can hear it across the yard. The inmates were prone out thinking, shots were fired because they were ordered to you only stop when the shot is fired. So it got to the point to where we were slamming the food, or we were slamming those ports. We would quell the situation right there on the spot. They didn't even know a shot wasn't fired. That's how desperate we got, because we didn't want. We got tired. We got tired of shooting these inmates, and you know what? We kept bringing it up, and actually Corcoran was bringing it up to CDC headquarters. At Corcoran administration were telling them the same thing. You guys got to come up with something different. You got to come up with something different because this is not working. So, you know, it was brought to their attention over the years. And it wasn't until, you know, the inmates started filing 602s, which is an inmate appeal complaint form. Families started voicing their concerns to the local media and to the FBI regarding the shoe policy. So, I mean, that's when things started to change. And then what really kind of got this ball rolling was we had 2 employees who were under investigation for excessive force. These 2 employees, and they were under investigation while the feds were there for excessive force. And what they did was they decided that they were going to go ahead and turn whistleblower and cooperate with the feds for whatever reason. So what they did was come up with all this type of staff misconduct and so-called gladiator fights to help their case. And that's when it all blew up.
So the feds come in. How did staff receive them? I mean, we're talking about the FBI. They have a special task force that investigates police corruption. I'm sure they use that task force. How did your buddies, your brothers, how did they react when these guys all of a sudden come in and they're starting their investigation, they're starting to interview people, and they finally find 3 or 4 individuals, and when you mentioned who all of a sudden now they're being accused of something, so typical, they turned whistleblowers.
Mm-hmm.
How were the feds received in the institution by correctional staff?
You know, Corcoran, you know, and I always call it, you know, it was a city within a city. We had over 1,000. We had 1,000 employees there, but it wasn't that. You know, 1,000 is not that big when you work with these people every day. You know, you went to the academy with them. You see them in service training. You see them out on the yard. You work with them. The feds initially, when they got there, they tried to plant staff in our buildings. We knew right away, as soon as these guys would walk in, we knew who they were. They were not.
They tried to plant correctional officer lookalikes?
Yes.
Or really, and you knew exactly who they were? And what about free staff? Did they try to plant free staff?
You know what? I never heard of them planting free staff, but again, as I said, they did plant FBI agents as posing as correctional officers. Everybody knew in a minute these guys are not. Yeah.
Could you imagine, Chalo? Could you imagine if they'd come up to you, hey man, we're gonna send you inside the worst pinta in America undercover as a correctional officer? Would you do it?
You can't get trained fast enough.
Oh no, you know who they are.
Institution.
They stick out like sore thumbs.
Yeah, even putting you in a county jail, bro, you would not know how that it runs, bro, because every pinta is different. Every way you handle stuff is different, and I mean,
it's a family.
Yeah, and you know, and yeah, there were some new officers that came in that kind of got that treatment. We felt bad after a while because they were righteous officers that came in from the academy that we didn't know, and they kind of got the cold shoulder for a little while, and but eventually, you know what? Okay, this person's here is working with us. We're, you know what? You can tell. You can tell, but yeah, that's that's what was happening back then. And I wanted to clarify a couple of things, though, man, because this title, gladiator fights, it was not made up by Corcoran staff. That title right there was made up by the media and by the feds. We didn't, that never came from us. At no time did we stage any fights, and as I told you guys before, the inmate politics is what ran, is what ran that joint. over there as far as when things were going to happen and how they were going to happen in regards to the inmates. They spoke about bets being made. There was never any bets being made. You know what? I mean, like I said, you would see these inmates preparing for yard, doing calisthenics. It was our belief, you know what? Something's probably going to happen. You know what? If somebody said, "Oh man, if that's going to happen, I bet you this is going to happen. This guy's going to do," it might have came out like that, but that word just kind of maybe blew up and caught somebody's attention. That this was all behind the shooting policy and the integrated inmate policy mandated by CDC. And I'm glad I got the opportunity to come out here to explain this to you guys, because yes. I tell you what, during this investigation, officers, supervisors, administrators were either lost their jobs, they were placed on administrative leave, and some were fired. Some lost their homes. Some ended up in divorce, and some of these sergeants and supervisors were placed under arrest and taken downtown to get booked. At the end of the day, out of these 3 or 4 investigations, not one officer was found criminally liable for any criminal offense. Not one.
So all those allegations, everything that came out in the news that they were betting, that they got set up, that was all a bunch of lies.
Everything unfounded, yes.
Unfounded.
Yep.
In the administrative and also in the federal court and state court.
Yes. Yes. Not one person found guilty.
Did they get their job back?
Yeah, that's my next question. What about the people that were fired? Did they get their job back through the POA or the CCPOA?
Some actually went to work for CCPOA. Some were actually demoted. Some lieutenants were demoted all the way down to officer. Some of these people resigned because they lost their homes, because they were out so long. Some of these people just decided, I'm done. I got to go back to work. It was a mess. It was a mess. So, yeah.
So once they were found not guilty, and once they were cleared up at the administrator level too, did they get any money for were they compensated for all the wrong?
They got back pay. They got their jobs back. They got back pay, right?
I mean, did they get that?
You know what? To be honest with you, I can't answer that question because I don't know what they did receive. I know they might have got some sort of compensation, but to be honest with you, I don't want to speak to that because that I don't know.
We got this question over here. This first time we hear about it. Juan Unglo. Thank you. Hopefully, please hit the like button and please subscribe. Gracias for watching the show. He says a Calapat guy who was sent to Corcoran, who was still on Calapat head count, was shot and sent outside hospital, and the paper trail was piling up. Can you decipher that?
I really can't. Was shot and sent to an outside hospital, and the paper trail was piling up. Just the only thing that I can think of was because he was shot. He was shot by staff, and I don't know. The paper trail might be because maybe they were alleging misconduct on behalf of that staff member or excessive force or something. That's the only thing I could take.
I don't understand it because he says he was sent to Corcoran, but yet he was still on the Calapat head count. That means the transfer papers never came. The body came before the papers.
Well, so that did happen.
Jungla.
Yeah, that did happen. Sometimes we get inmates from other facilities because we had that acute care hospital there, which was state of the art. So technically, they still belonged to the sending facility. So what we would do is we'd call the facility. Yeah, we got a visual on him. He would remain on their count. Maybe that's what he's talking about.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
It's poorly written. I mean, we don't even know what he's talking about. So
yeah, but we think
you gotta be able to articulate what you're writing.
Yeah.
Mike. One thing I see is on all these prison channels with all these prisoners that claim that they know about the gladiator fights, they all talk different. They all say that the guards were setting them up, that it was for financial blah blah blah. Like I always say, there's always a flip side. You hear that on their channels because they want to, it's more likes. and people want to hear that. They want to go dirty guard, dirty cops, So you
Yeah.
hear that a lot, and not only that, you also even hear it from some guys that have limited experience working in the Department of Corrections, that so-called know stuff, just to show you.
Yeah.
I mean, just to show you that people just talk because it sounds sexy. It sounds like points. It sounds like I'm gonna get likes. I'm gonna get more subscribers.
Exactly. No, you know what? I am so glad that you guys invited me to talk about this, because I tell you what, not a lot of people know about this. This is probably new to a lot of people, and I'm sure there's people out there that are saying, that's BS. But you know what? We lived it. We lived it, and just the fact that that no charges were ever filed against anyone, that says a lot. And this was an FBI investigation. And the local district attorney's office out of Kings County as well. So, yeah.
And Mike, and I just want to make clear for those that are watching the show, because I know there's people that are cynical that are probably watching, oh, they were perfect. No, there's no such thing. With San Diego PD, when I worked in internal affairs, and I'm sure, Chalo, you worked in internal affairs, we fired a lot of people that were dirty. We fired a lot of cops that were involved in promiscuous or were involved in criminal activity. So I'm sure during that time, and even today, there's a lot of correctional personnel that are involved in criminal activity and are being investigated. So I don't want those that are watching the show think that every law enforcement agency is perfect. No, we're not perfect. But in this scenario, once again, fake news.
Yeah.
The media escalated it, and then we have, like you said, Benny, all these channels just to get additional views that the guards were dirty. Is there dirty guards? Yes. Is there dirty cops? Yes, there is. Is there dirty military personnel? Yes, there is. But the majority of us are clean, and the majority of us keep the dirt out. Correct?
And I'm glad you brought that up, because I'd like to piggyback off that, Dave. I'm not saying that we were perfect, that we were angels out there. When I was assigned to ISU, I arrested many, quite a few staff members for misconduct, for introduction of narcotics, introduction of weapons, sexual, doing things that they shouldn't be doing with other inmates. We were not perfect. Again, we're a city within a city, and like I said earlier, there was over 1,000 of us. So yeah, you're going to have dirty cops, but just in this, for the sake of this argument here, that that is, I'm so glad that I was able to share that with you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
And you know what? One of the things, David, when it comes to, in my experience and other cases that I've seen, is there's things that happen. So these guys were exonerated, not only administratively, but they went to court. They went to a criminal court, and they got found not guilty. So these guys are innocent, dude. There's no, other proof that says otherwise. So these guys were innocent. In other cases, like you said, when you talked about San Diego PD or different PDs and different agencies, sometimes they don't get prosecuted for two reasons. Number one, there's not enough evidence to get prosecuted. They did it. So that's why they get fired. And they don't get their job back. Sometimes they get their job back because it just happens, but they're still guilty. Another thing that I've noticed, especially when it comes to like the feds, and when the feds are involved, I've seen it where they'll get, let's say for instance, they arrest 20 guys, and out of the 20, they were able to flip 2 or 3. So what do? Is they can't take everybody down because they're using these 2 guys for something else. So they'll just put the case on the back burner, and then you'll have the group of people saying, well, we never got convicted. We never got arrested. Well, yeah, because your 2 partners out of the 20 are like the, Ovidio Guzman giving you some great information that you say, hey, man, I'm not going to go after everybody because we're going to get more out of this. That's the way I've seen a lot of stuff happen, where they just use them as informants. They don't get prosecuted, but they get fired. Mm-hmm. Your guys came back. Your guys got acquitted in a criminal court. They had to. These guys were innocent, guys. I mean, I can't say, they were innocent.
And you know what? Even if you're found innocent, that shit stays in your rap sheet.
Oh, you know, dude.
And when you apply for a job, you still have to answer.
Yeah.
When that comes
it doesn't get erased. No.
So it taints your integrity, man. It taints
reputation.
And people will come up and say, hey, aren't you the guy that got fired? Weren't you getting investigated for that? And then you sit there, you got to explain to if they matter. If they don't matter, you just blow them off. You're like, whatever.
Yeah.
But once you tell if you're innocent, and once you tell your story, dude, and a good person will say, fuck, this guy went through a lot of stuff. And you know what? He's innocent, man. We're going to hire him.
Yeah.
Or some places are so corrupt they say, nah, this guy's clean. We don't want to hire him because he's not going to stay quiet.
Hey, Mike, before Benny's last question, because you know what time's on us, before Benny's last question, how was morale during that time in the prison? And then how did morale change? Did a new warden come in to change it? What changed the morale? First of all, tell us how the morale was, and then how did it change for the positive?
You know what? Morale was down. Well, it's obvious to anyone that, morale would go down because of all these allegations, that people getting walked off all the time. You had the feds up there, asking questions, people getting arrested. But you know what? We hung together as a family. Our first warden, his name was George Smith. When we first activated that prison, his thing was like, we're a family. He goes, and don't let anybody else tell you different. And we always remembered that. And so as much as morale did go down, here and there, we stayed tight as a group. We hung in there, and you know what? It paid off.
Okay, good. And it paid off. Mm-hmm. Excellent. Benny, let's go with your last question.
Well, the last one's already answered. It was about the shooting policy. But, there was a movie that came out in 2017 that brought a lot of attention to this so-called gladiator fights. And that was the movie Shot Caller. It's, again, you got all these other channels that, see, they pump it up so much. They want to make it sexy. They want to make it Hollywood. And Hollywood does pick up on this stuff. I mean, they make that movie Shot Caller, which is a very good movie.
Well, that movie, I mentioned two individuals. And I'm going to leave it at that.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll mention two individuals who went to the feds. And I'm going to leave it at that, Benny.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm going to piggyback real quick on the question that Benny said was the answer. It wasn't an answer to me. The shooting policy back then, first of all, it changed because it was a Mini 14. And then it went to the HK. And then somebody here, to see if I could pull up, mentioned that no, they're no longer using today the H&K. They're back to the Mini 14. So the policy has always been no warning shots, and that has definitely not changed. And even though right now they just got rid of this, Holland or whatever this new policy is.
Yeah.
What is it called?
The Norway Project.
The Norway Project.
Yes. So the shooting policy didn't change because of the Norway Project, correct? They kept the same policy, no warning shots, correct?
Well, they pretty much dismantled the shoe units. The shoe units are now being used for maybe an overflow administrative segregation, but the shoe units as we knew them no longer exist, not at Corcoran anymore.
And sank into their classrooms, little condos for the ones that behave and they want to go to school. It's almost like a dorm type setup.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. We have the last question of the night is, what does Mike think from breakfast burrito? I love breakfast burritos. We don't have them over here in Florida. I miss California. What does Mike think about the current state of the California Department of Correctional Rehabilitation with all the assaults and murders under the current administration? Good question, Burrito.
I think the new CDCR created that monster by not punishing these inmates for the things that they do. These inmates, from what I'm hearing now from a lot of the youngsters that I talk to at the gym, is you get charged with a serious offense, you remain in the general population, basically in your on the same facility that you came from. There's no longer the shoe. I think CDC, that Norway project, what they're doing is they're putting officers' lives in danger because they're encouraging these staff members to play cards with these guys, to play basketball with these guys, I'm not sure if you saw that one video. I'm not sure if it was Corcoran or Kern Valley, where the inmate was standing behind the correction officer, popping his neck.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, you got to be kidding me. This is the new CDCR. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. And you know what? I hope sooner or later that they come to realize that before we lose another staff member, because as we all know, staff members are getting assaulted every day, and the numbers were not that high before.
It looks like JC's a correctional officer. He says you can shoot warning shot on the yard. There you can. In the housing unit, there's no such thing as a warning shot. And
He's
the last
absolutely
question, and the last question is, whatever happened to the 2 guards who made the false allegations? Good question, Big Juarez.
They left. They I'm not sure if they retired or they resigned, but they left and moved out of state.
Interesting. Hey, Mike, once again, brother, mil gracias. I know you're coming back. There's no doubt. There's so many things I think I learned. I worked the Pinta. I mean, I worked at CMC and I activated Donovan. I mean, I was there, 4.5 years? And I learned a lot today. I learned a lot just listening to you. And man, I can't wait to have you back. And there's no doubt Benny's definitely bring you back. But brother, before we leave, Benny, any last words for Mike?
Well, you know, Mike, I remember when we started talking about this, you mentioned that you were contacted by many of your coworkers back then, and they wanted you to come on and talk about this. You know,
They did.
they wanted closure. You know that one of the whistleblowers, supposed whistleblower, was a lieutenant, and he's all over the internet. He's all over crying about how much of a victim he is and how everybody came after him now and that he can't find a job, that kind of stuff. You know.
Yeah, it's true. And you know what, Benny, like I said, I talked to a lot of my partners, the ones that are working and ones that are, and some that are retired. And I told them what I wanted to do. I told them that I wanted to get our story out. And again, I was so glad that you guys were able to reach out to me and I can get the story out, because again, there's not a lot of people that have heard our side of the story. So I'm glad I was able to come on and share this with you guys. And you know, get the story out.
And Mike, we got people already saying, please come back. Please come back.
Hey.
Chalo, any last words for Big Mike?
Hey, Mike, man, a guy that I put people in jail. Never knew how the stuff really ran other than watching Hollywood stuff and reading, you know, stories that are not reported. You know, it's like it says, media sells, bro. Everybody wants to make it all juicy and stuff like that. We all have incidents where people want to know what was your ugliest call there at the prison, and you tell them and you don't sensationalize, and people are like, "Oh man, that was it." But deep down inside, we all know the truth, right? You were there, bro. You knew the truth. You lived it. There is no doubt in my mind, if anybody ever questions your side of the story, están malos de la cabeza, man. They're whack, Brad. Because you know what, dude, what your eyes saw, what you felt, does not change, but you know, whoever from the outside is trying to make some money off of a book or whatever. So, hey,
you know,
thanks.
I appreciate that, bro. I really do.
You know, Chalo, we didn't even get to see the video he sent me. I mean, that's an awesome video. I mean, it shows the actual fights and the violence and how just violent and the injuries. I mean, it's an unbelievable video. Too bad we couldn't upload it.
Is it on YouTube, Mike, or is this your own?
That was mine.
Okay. Well, you're gonna have to share it.
I'll send it to you, Chalo. I'll share it with you. I can send it to you. I
Right.
just couldn't.
I can see everybody light up the board and say, "Hey, send it to us too, man."
Hey, Mike, una vez más, mil gracias. I'll be reaching out to you next week so we could get together. So we'll have that breakfast burrito with,
We will,
with Big John and with Dan Lopez. All right.
All
Thank
right.
you, brother.
Hey,
God
thanks,
bless you.
guys. It was great seeing you guys. I
bless you.
appreciate it.
God
Thanks,
bless
Mike.
We'll see you soon. All right. Thank you.
All right, guys.
Wow,
Man, Benny, I'll tell you, I learned a lot. I learned a lot tonight. And I'm sure that if I learned a lot, there's a lot of our listeners that without a doubt learned a lot about the SHU program. I knew a little bit about the SHU program, but exactly what the building officer did. I mean, I thought that they immediately went out. I thought with a gurney and everybody's on the ground, guns are out, and got the guy that's bleeding to death. But no, man, I mean, the way he explained it was perfect. Bring the ones that could still attack you in, and then go after, and then you bring the ambulance in. dude, that was.
But
excellent.
you know what, David? The fact that the prison politics, not the politics of the inmates, the politics of staff, administration throughout the state, because dude, it wasn't just the warden that was saying, let these guys go out to your yard when you're having fights every day, dude, and you're having people get really hurt. You're going, oh yeah, keep on. What happened to the lockdowns? Even though there's shoe, you say, hey man, you know what, dude? Until we get control of this shit, I'm not gonna let nobody out.
Yeah,
You know, there's too many. You know what? And my whole thing is this. Yeah, you know what? You got to protect the inmates, but you got to protect your staff too. I mean, if you're putting your staff
absolutely right,
danger, bro.
Yeah.
Come on, man. That's not cool. That's not
you're
cool.
absolutely right. Hey Benny, tell us who we got next week. Did we get confirmation?
Nope, we don't have confirmation yet. It's gonna have to wait.
Okay, so we can't mention that possibly.
No,
Oh, okay.
no.
There's
All
not
right.
jinx.
Since we can't mention possibly, I can mention who's going to be with us tomorrow. We got a former New York trooper by the name of Ross Felici. He's going to be joining us tomorrow on Ash Wednesday. He responded to the Twin Towers during 9/11 with his K9. He's going to talk about that. That's going to be an outstanding episode. So join us tomorrow. Have your drink, cigar, or just your drink, whether you're drinking tequila, drinking bourbon, or drinking whiskey or water. It doesn't matter. It's going to be a great episode. We're going to talk about 9/11, what really happened there. And with that said, Chalo, tell us, we got our coins for sale and we have our T-shirts for sale. And tell us about these beautiful coins that you're already giving away.
So I bought some and I gave one away to one of my homies that watches the show and that gives us really good positive feedback. Also, bro, he goes out there. It's VP 760, bro. This guy's, you know.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So this guy retired from the sheriff's office, and then he started working now with the city of Brawley, dude. So hats off to this guy. So, but he spreads the word, bro. He goes out and tells, hey, you guys got to watch the show, bro, and stuff like that. So since I know him personally, dude, I went out of my way, bro, and I gave him a coin, and he gave me He gave me one in exchange for that one, dude. I didn't mean to get something back, but he really liked the coins.
Chalo, is he ICSO?
Yeah, he was ICSO, bro. He worked the SO, and then from there he's out now with the city of Brawley. Since he got a different retirement, and he's a young kid, bro. I think he's like 50, 52, 50, 51, 52. So he got a job with Brawley now, doing some high level over there for them.
Hey, Chalo, so if they want to buy the coin, all they have to do is go to asksean3294@gmail.com, and they're $20 a piece. Give us a description of the coin. I'll tell you, Benny, you did it. They're 3D, they're thick, and these are the challenge coins that we have. One side is the gray line, and the other side is Ash Wednesday. Give us a brief description, then we're going to go to the T-shirts, Chalo.
Hey, so check this out. So the coin itself, man, it's 3D. You can actually feel them. You grab them, and you can feel on the gray line one. You can actually feel like the real smooth ridges of like, you know, where the bullet hole's going through. You can see the lettering on it. On the other side too, when it's got the Ash Wednesday, dude, it's got the really nice red enamel paint with the blue cross, dude. I mean, dude, they're high quality stuff. They're not cheap. They're not, you know, like I remember the first coins that were out there when the coin challenge was going on. You know, some of them were okay, some of them weren't. But dude, these are nice, dude. Very nice. You know, you guys did a great job, man, getting these coins done, man.
With Dustin Wester, and from he's now with Imperial PD. He used to be ICSO. I mean, he got the design for me. He kind of drew it for me, and he said, "Hey, Ben, let's do 3D. Let's do this." I mean, the guy is awesome. I mean, he's got his company called Double Tap Custom Designs, and he does. I mean, he's got like 30 orders right now. I mean, he's doing Mundo a coin.
Oh,
Mexican outfit coin.
Exactly.
So I mean, you got to see that. You got to see that design. It's bad, man.
No, so I need to reach out to him because the CSOs at the federal courthouse, they want to make our own coin for this courthouse. So I mean, dude, I showed them to them. They're like, "Oh man," I said, "Yeah." So
sell it to them, Chalo. Now sell it to them.
Yeah,
hey guys, and also, you know what? The only way you could buy it right now, we don't have a special machine yet. Not yet until our conference, which is coming up in September. We'll talk about that right now, real briefly. But the only way, send them a check, send them your address, send them a check, and then he'll send you the shirt. Let's talk about the shirt real quick. Tell us about the shirt, Chalo. We're wearing it, by the way.
It's a shirt. So I didn't wear mine today because my wife she was working, so she didn't get to wash it. I don't like to wear shirts without washing them first. That's me, Anyway.
Okay.
So, anyways, dude, nice quality, thick shirts, bro. They got the logos. You have the Ash Wednesday one, same thing, nice colors. And then you have the gray line. I like them. It was a good fit. My extra large fit me perfect, not too big and not tight at all, dude. So they're true to size. So let's see what happens. I mean, I can't wait to start wearing mine around town when I go out there to Costco and stuff like that.
You know what, Chalo? To me, I think they were bigger. If you wear extra large, buy a large because you know what? At least mine's a little big. Benny, you wear double X. Does it fit perfect or does it fit tight?
I actually got an XL, and I was gonna kick it back and thinking that I was gonna need a bigger one, and that one fit perfect.
Oh, perfect. Okay, well, good. Yeah, I felt mine. I thought it was going to be a little tighter, but you know what? It's perfect. But just if you do wear extra large, if you like tight shirts, get an extra large, get a large because they run just a little big, but they're beautiful shirts. Once again, you could buy the shirt. Ask Sean3294@gmail.com, and they're only $20. And guys, this money isn't for us. This money is so we could pay for advertising. That's all it is. We're not making 1 cent. We're all retired. We're all making very good money. Chalo has a full-time job, and Sean has a part-time job. And you know what? Bobby has a part-time job. Benny has a part-time job. But we don't need the money. We're not doing this for the money. We're doing this because we want to bring legends to our show to share the legendary stories. Chalo, anything more on the shirts? Or Benny,
one of the things I was telling the guys, really quick, like guys, one of the things that us men fail to do is really take care of ourselves when it comes to going to the doctor, getting your annual, medical done. Women are really good at this. My hat's off, man. They go out there, they do their, mammograms. They go to the gynecologist. They do, whatever they have to do. Woman doesn't feel good. She goes and gets checked it out. Most men, what do? Man, se me va a quitar ahorita. I'll drink a shot of whiskey. I'll drink a beer. One of the things, dude, that me prevention is in my family, colon cancer runs. My grandmother just gently shut down Justin Bieber. Astonished face in a moment. And three of my aunts had a colon cancer, died of colon cancer. So one of the things I always, I've had my third one in my life. I'm 50. I'll be 59 this year. So I started doing them real early. So make sure you guys do that, man. Go get blood work done. Nip it. Unfortunately, nip it in the ass before it gets bigger. I mean, because they can remove the polyp and it doesn't develop to colon cancer. Seeing what I saw through my aunts and colon cancer, like any cancer, is very painful and it's an awful way to go. So whoever has or going through it, my prayers to you, man. And then prevention goes a long way. That's my message for you guys today.
Benny, last words.
Just with all the police suicides that have been coming up lately. I mean, we're getting more and more, and just if you need help, ask for help, man. And if you feel like you don't want to tell the department or the department psychologist or whatever, you can go to an outside source. The thing is to get help. You don't have to go through the department. You can find an outside source and get the help that way.
Without a doubt, Benny, without a doubt. My daughter called me the other day. She watched the show last week and she saw that at the end of the show, I always talk about live a purpose-driven life. You live every day like it's your last. And I always talk about the process. Whatever process you're going through, trust the process, trust the author. And she told me, Dad, have you ever read Ecclesiastic chapter 3? She goes, please read it before you mention the process again. And I read it, and it talks about there's a time to laugh, there's a time to cry, it breaks down. There's a time to weep, there's a time for the sun to come out, a time to rain, and it breaks down the process and it breaks down the seasons that we go through in life. And I want to end today's show with basically just telling you that no matter what season you're going through, one day you may be the happiest man on earth, the next day you might fall into depression. One day you might be the healthiest man on earth, like Chalo said. The next day you find out you have cancer. No matter what season you're going through, trust the process. But above and beyond, not only trusting the process, trust the author. And like I always say, we don't preach a religion. We don't talk about religion. We talk about an experience. With that said, our author is our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. We'll see you tomorrow on Ash Wednesday. If not tomorrow, we'll see you next Wednesday. Be safe and live every day like it's your last day on earth. God bless you.
Everybody to the Wild Wild West, a state that's untouchable like Elliot Ness. The track hits your eardrum like a slug to your chest, like a vest for your Jimmy in the city of sex. We in that sunshine state where the bomb ass him be, the state where you never find a dance floor empty and pimp speed. On a mission for them greens, lean, mean, money making machines serving fiends. I've been in the game for 10 years making rap tunes. Ever since Honeys was wearing Sassoon, now it's 95 and they clock me and watch me diamond shining, looking like a Rob Liberace. It's all good from Diego to the Bay. Your city is the bomb if your city making pay. Throw up a finger if you feel the same way. Straight putting it down for California, yeah.
Like a slow jam, it's West